Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Ravi, Jain, Director of Risk and Derivatives at Sterling Trading Tech, to discuss the new value of cloud-based financial platforms. Ravi, it's great to have you with us. Welcome back to Trade Talks. And really, we have learned a big lesson in the current environment that fintech needs to be fast, it needs to be reliable. And my question to you is, do legacy platforms even make the cut anymore?
Thanks, Jill. Thanks for having me back. You're absolutely right. I mean, what this whole situation has been an eye-opener for a lot of firms, and particularly the larger firms that were so heavily invested in installed legacy platforms. All of a sudden, they had to move all their employees to work from home, and people couldn't get onto VPNs, couldn't get remote desktop. They didn't have laptops or machines at home. I mean, you've heard the story of one laptop shared with your wife and yourself and your kid that's home from college, or your desktop is so old it can't run your work applications anymore. So it's been incredible how firms have realized that those legacy applications that ran on their own servers are almost impossible or very difficult to access on a mass basis when people are forced to work from home.
Right.
You know,
And we certainly see that reflective in cloud stocks, because cloud-based services are the ones that are providing those solutions. Tell us about some of those solutions, and is it safe when things are in the cloud?
Sure, so that's a great question. So yeah, I mean, the cloud has gone through sort of an evolution. I mean, we saw the cloud years ago just be for data storage, and then we saw it more and more used for computing resources. But the current evolution is not just data, which makes it, data is easy to access if it's there in the cloud, and the computing resources make sure you're not dependent on physical servers. You have elasticity. But now we're seeing that actual applications are running in the cloud, thus you can actually access those applications on your iPad, your through a web browser, etc., which makes it very powerful. And we're seeing those applications becoming more and more sophisticated. They're not just basic, data input type applications. I mean, for example, at Sterling, our risk system, it's a real-time risk application that we developed years ago, 100% cloud-based, and not a single one of our clients was disrupted in terms of managing their real-time risk during this whole, this whole period. They could just start working from home, get on a browser, and access the system. We're going to see a lot more of that. We're going to see a lot more of critical applications being migrated to a cloud infrastructure, so they're easy to access on any platform through a web browser, etc.
And what are the benefits to financial professionals?
So I think the biggest benefit is that you are not mobility, portability and mobility. You can access a real-time or instantaneous, whether it be an account or a risk calculation or some analytics, anywhere you are on any platform. You don't have to go into your office, log into your office machine, and then look at the application that's running on your workstation. You have complete portability and mobility.
So, Ravi, how do you integrate both legacy platforms and cloud? I would imagine for large financial institutions, you just don't flip a switch and you're able to change your entire platform over.
That's correct. And that's one of the big challenges. The large institutions have to have a very defined cloud migration strategy. And they're probably going to have to go through a process of sort of a hybrid strategy, where a lot of things are still running internally on local servers, and certain things are exposed externally through a data security layer, so that critical data is still protected, but access is available through web-based browsers, etc. And it's going to take time. Like you said, you can't flip a switch. And that's one of the advantages fintech companies have. New startup fintech companies are 100% cloud-based from day one. So it's going to be a huge challenge for traditional financial services companies to catch up.
All right, Ravi, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining me on Trade Talks.
Thank you very much.
All right, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.